Your body collapses into bed like it's been hit by a truck. You're exhausted enough to fall asleep standing up, and then, nothing. You're lying there wide awake, heart beating just a little too fast, replaying a conversation from 3 hours ago, mentally rewriting tomorrow's to-do list. Muscles tense even though every cell in you is begging to shut down. Maybe you check your phone one more time, thinking that'll help. It doesn't. Somehow you're running on fumes but you can't land. So here's the real question. If you're this tired, why won't your body just sleep? It turns out exhaustion and sleepiness aren't the same signal, and tonight, we're breaking down why your body can be dead tired and wide awake at the exact same time. Learn this. This isn't a one-off bad night either, it's a pattern. Your body feels like it forgot how to power down, even when it's clearly begging for rest, and that's strange, because tiredness is supposed to be the thing that pulls you under. So why doesn't it? Here's the twist. Your body isn't running one tiredness switch. It's running two completely different systems, and most nights, they're not even talking to each other. One of them is about to explain everything. Here's the part nobody tells you. Your body doesn't have one tiredness switch. It has two completely separate systems, running on two completely different schedules, and most nights, they're not even in the same conversation. One system is slow and chemical, the other is fast and electric, and when they disagree, the fast one almost always wins. Let's start with the fast one, because it's the one keeping you staring at the ceiling. This is your stress alert system, and its main messengers are cortisol and adrenaline. Think of them as your body's internal broadcast system, and their entire job is to say stay alert, something isn't finished yet. When you had a tense conversation earlier, a work deadline you're worried about, an argument you replayed twice in your head, your nervous system logged that as unfinished business. It doesn't matter that it's now 11 at night. Your brain doesn't check the clock before deciding something feels unresolved, so cortisol and adrenaline stay elevated, quietly circulating, keeping your body in a low hum of readiness. That's why your heart feels like it's beating just a little too fast, even though you're lying completely still. That's not your imagination. That's an active chemical signal telling your system to stay switched on. Now here's the slow system, and this one is much simpler. All day, just from being awake, your brain builds up a chemical called adenosine. Think of it like sand slowly filling an hourglass. The longer you're awake, the more it piles up, and the more adenosine you have floating around your brain, the heavier and more urgent your sleepiness becomes. This is your actual sleep pressure. It's why you can feel exhausted enough to fall asleep standing up in the kitchen. That feeling is real. Adenosine has been building all day, and by nighttime, it's shouting shut down now. W. So here's the strange part. You've got adenosine screaming shut down, and cortisol and adrenaline screaming stay alert, and these two signals are not designed to negotiate. They're designed to compete, and whenever they compete, the alert signal has the upper hand. Why would your body be built this way? Because for most of human history, staying alert during a perceived threat mattered a lot more than getting a good night's sleep. If your ancestors were on edge because of a predator nearby, or a conflict with another group, the body's priority wasn't rest, it was survival. Cortisol and adrenaline evolved to override tiredness on purpose, because in an emergency, falling asleep is the worst possible move. The problem is your nervous system still runs this exact same override today, except now, the threat isn't a predator, it's an unresolved email thread. It's a tense text conversation. It's the mental tab you left open about tomorrow's to-do list. Your body cannot tell the difference between a real danger and a stressful, unfinished day. It reacts to both the same way. Stay alert, don't power down yet. This is why a late evening scroll session or a last check of work email can leave you feeling unexpectedly wired, even though logically you just sat still doing nothing physically demanding. Your eyes see a notification, a headline, an unanswered message, and your nervous system quietly interprets it as one more unresolved thread that needs attention. Cortisol ticks up again. The alert signal gets another jolt of fuel, right when you were hoping to wind down. And this override isn't just a vague feeling, it shows up as very specific physical evidence. Your muscles staying tense or restless, even though every part of you feels physically drained. Is your body holding on to readiness instead of releasing it? Your mind replaying a conversation from hours ago, or rehearsing tomorrow's to-do list on a loop, is your alert system trying to process and close out unfinished business before it will allow you to power down. It's not randomness. It's your nervous system running background process it considers more urgent than sleep. And this mismatch doesn't only stop you from falling asleep in the first place. It can also break sleep back open once you're already under. If cortisol spikes again in the middle of the night, maybe from a stray worry, maybe from blood sugar shifts, maybe for no obvious reason at all, that alert signal can override sleep mid-cycle, not just at bedtime. That's the biological story behind waking up at 3 a.m. with a jolt of alertness, heart already halfway racing, mind already halfway into tomorrow. Even though nothing around you has changed, your alert system briefly took the wheel again. And here's what makes this worth understanding, rather than shrugging off. An occasional stressful day creates one rough, tired but wired night. That's normal, and it resolves. But when your stress alert system rarely gets the chance to fully power down, night after night, this becomes the default pattern instead of the exception. The nightly collapse into bed, followed by that wide-awake wired frustration, stops being a one-off bad night and starts becoming the norm your body expects. Not because your body is broken, because one signal has been consistently drowning out the other for a while now. Here's the good news buried in all of this. Your body already knows how to shut the alert signal off. It does it every single time you actually do fall asleep easily. The system isn't missing that ability. It's just waiting for confirmation that the day is genuinely over, so cortisol and adrenaline can step back and let adenosine finally take the wheel uncontested. Right now, on the hard nights, that confirmation never arrives. The alert system is still running background checks, still treating unfinished conversations and half-formed to-do lists like open threats, so it keeps broadcasting stay alert even while your body is desperately trying to shut down. So the move isn't to try harder to feel tired. You're already tired. That was never the missing piece. The move is to directly lower the alert signal, and there's a surprisingly simple way to do that using your breath. About 60 to 90 minutes before bed, sit quietly for 5 minutes and breathe in a specific pattern, making your exhale noticeably longer than your inhale, something like a 4-count inhale and a 6 or 7-count exhale. That's the entire habit. No apps required, no perfect posture, no special room, just longer exhales than inhales, for 5 minutes, before the part of the evening where you're normally lying there staring at the ceiling. Nahum, why does this work on the actual mechanism, instead of just distracting you from it? Extending your exhale is one of the few voluntary actions that directly talks to your nervous system's alert setting. Short, shallow breathing is what your body does when it's on guard. Long, slow exhales are what your body does when it's safe. By deliberately extending the exhale, you're sending a direct physical signal that overrides the broadcast, telling your nervous system the emergency, whatever it thought the emergency was, can stand down. You're not forcing sleep. You're lowering the volume on the signal that's been drowning it out. And here's a reframe worth sitting with. Your body isn't broken for staying alert. Replaying that conversation, rehearsing tomorrow's to-do list, feeling your muscles stay tense even though you're exhausted, none of that is malfunction. That's your nervous system doing exactly its job, trying to finish processing the day before it feels safe enough to let go. It's misapplying an old survival tool to a modern, low-danger situation, but it's not failing you. It's protecting you from something that isn't actually there anymore. Over a week or two of trying this, don't look for a dramatic switch flipping. Look for small shifts instead. Notice whether the slightly racing heart feeling softens a little sooner once you're lying down. Notice whether the mental loop of replaying the day quiets a touch faster than usual. These are the same specific signals you've been feeling all along, just potentially showing up at a lower volume. That's the feedback that matters here. Not a promise, just information about whether the alert signal is starting to ease its grip. This is also why this approach works differently than the things people usually try first. More tiredness doesn't fix a system that's already exhausted. More time lying in bed doesn't help if cortisol is still circulating. The missing variable was never fatigue. It was an alert signal that never got permission to stand down. This reset speaks directly to that signal instead of piling more sleep pressure onto a system that's already flooded with it. So the next time you collapse into bed, dead tired, heart beating just a touch too fast, mind still replaying something from hours ago, remember what's actually happening. Your body isn't broken. It's not confused. It's simply waiting for the alert signal to quiet down enough to let the tiredness that's already there finally take over. That 5-minute exhale practice, 60 to 90 minutes before bed, is how you ask your nervous system, gently and directly, to stand down for the night.